Hey everybody, this is Dr. Erinn Harris Internal Medicine in Peachtree City, Georgia, and I am here doing another or vlog for my vitiligo healing journal, and this is week number 14, yeah, 13 or 14. Um, so I I think I filled in some more. Uh, I can tell on my forehead that I've kind of filled in some more. Sometimes now it's really kind of difficult to tell. I think I filled in around my eyes. I'm not going to go up close this time because you can kind of see I filled in them around my eyes and my lips here and my chin. I think I mainly see more changes in my forehead. I had to cut back on my light therapy. I had to cut back the wattage or the energy on my light therapy because I didn't want to burn my eyes. My eyes kept getting too red, and the skin on my eyes is really thin, and so it tends to burn a little bit more. And I'm just trying to get my eyes filled in, so I haven't been turning up the heat as much in the UVB light therapy. So I am still filling in here on my chest, though. You guys can see I'm dotting up a lot. I don't know if you can see that starting to really dot up really well. And my arms on both sides are starting to dot up around here. You can't see it because, of course, I have a shirt on. So, yeah, so still doing really well as far as my therapy. And uh, oh, my ears are still feeling it okay. So, what we're going to talk about this week is nutrient supplements. I know some people have commented and asked about nutrient supplements and what do I use for supplements. And I know that's a really hot topic, especially when you're trying to do things without taking steroids or doing things without taking um, injections or and I'm not a lot of things have come out for medications and come out for vitiligo as far as like injections, like the medications that are out for rheumatoid arthritis or the medications that are out for psoriasis at this point, but they actually are in the pipeline and coming. And so, for those of you who don't necessarily want to go that route and want to try a different route, this is maybe a route that you may want to think about. So, just to recap for people who haven't been watching the first video from the start, from episode one on, what I've been doing is I've been doing light treatments. I do those 3 times a week. And I also do the autoimmune protocol, which is basically it's like a it's basically like paleo, a little bit of keto thrown in there, but basically like paleo, very low carb, not a lot of things to um, not a lot of things to incite inflammation in your body. Uh, I know sometimes on the autoimmune protocols you'll see different ones on Google. You'll see some that actually have caffeine, some that don't, some that have milk, some that don't. So and it really depends on what you are, uh, are intolerant to or not tolerant to. And so we're gonna in kind of what you need in your diet. So as far as nutrient supplements, those really differ, for each person. Honestly, it's very individualized. I do highly recommend that prior to you just starting off nutrients, just taking all types of nutrients and supplements, that you get tested to see what nutrients you're deficient in. And you can get tested for those things through a functional medicine physician, such as myself. We usually do nutrient testing on most people, especially who have autoimmune disorders, to see what they're deficient in so that we can kind of put it back into their diet in order to allow their immune system to work at its best. If you don't have access to a functional medicine physician, or you don't necessarily want to do that, you can actually go online. There are at home testing. Um, Websites. You can go on a website for at home testing. You can just put home based nutritional testing in. And I'm not really sure of the price. Some places you actually have to go to a lab and get a blood draw. And some places you can just do it by finger stick. Some websites you can just use a finger stick. and send it in. So you do, if you get nutrient testing, and you're doing a home-based nutrient test, you definitely want to make sure that it tests not only for vitamin deficiencies. You may want to make sure it tests for vitamin A, vitamin E, all your B vitamin deficiencies. You also want to make sure it tests for antioxidants that you may be lacking in, like alpha lipoic acid and glutathione. And you also would want to check for vitamin D. So all your, what we call your lipid-based vitamins, which are your vitamin E, vitamin A, um, vitamin D, and well, you really don't need vitamin K, and all of your water-based vitamins like vitamin C and B vitamins. So you also want to make sure they test for minerals like magnesium, manganese, copper, selenium, zinc. Those are really important. So make sure that those are also tested in the nutrient tests. So as far as what nutrients should you take and what supplements should you not take, like I said, it's really going to be dependent on what you're deficient in. Um, but really, with people with vitiligo, you kind of see two different sides. And I'm just going to kind of tell you my story. When I, was trying to figure out all this whole thing, and I really didn't know how to, what I was deficient in. I was just kind of going by what I read on Google. And I would see that I would, see somebody post on Google or somebody post on YouTube. Oh, um, well, people who have vitiligo are really deficient in selenium and zinc, and you guys who have vitiligo may have read the same thing. You're not here. Yeah, I heard we're all deficient in selenium, zinc, and then you also may have heard on the other side that people who have vitiligo are deficient in B vitamins, and people are like, yeah, I'm deficient in B vitamins. Plus, I don't methylate very well, and so I need methyl folic acid or methyl B12. And we can go over that in just a little bit. But it really depends. Some people, tends to be a group of people who have vitiligo who are selenium, copper, and zinc deficient. And there's another group of people who are on the B vitamin side who are B vitamin deficient. As for me, I was fine. I was taking all this, I was just reading everything and taking whatever they told me to take. And you're like, you're a doctor. But I had no idea that you could actually test for nutrient deficiency. So I had to learn myself. So that's what I'm here to tell you guys to, so you won't make the same mistakes I made. Even as a physician, I didn't know. So, um, so yeah, so I had nutrient testing done. I was taking all this selenium, zinc, and copper, and had no selenium, zinc, or copper deficiencies whatsoever. I was totally fine with that. But I did have um, folic acid deficiency. My B12 was is fine, and but my folic acid deficiency was significant, and I also had a lot of other antioxidant deficiencies that are really important in how not melatonin, but melanin is produced. And some of the deficiencies that I had, um, like alpha lipoic acid, is very important in the cycle of how melanin is produced. And also glutathione, um, some deficiencies I had were the reason why I may have had a low glutathione level. So you also, just to go back, I'm sorry, I just forgot this, is you need to make sure that your amino acid profile is checked along with your, you need to make sure that they check amino acid deficiencies too, because that's going to be really important. So, yeah, so I was very folic acid deficiency, a lot of B vitamins, not B12, but I had riboflavin deficiencies and I think thiamine deficiencies. And those were important players and cofactors in other um, like a cascade of reactions that causes that keeps either inflammation down or allows inflammation to just kind of go go crazy. So once I started um, and I actually figured it out, I felt a lot better because I was getting the things that I was deficient in, and um, and then I was providing my body the things that it needs to help me heal lower inflammation and make melanin. So, um, just to kind of go down the line, and you may not be every like I said, everyone's different, but I was deficient in alpha lipoic acid, I was deficient in folic acid, riboflavin, and um, I think I had some glutathione deficiencies. Now, getting back to amino acids, glutamine is a really big, important uh, amino acid that you a lot of people need because it if you don't have enough of it, then and you're deficient in it, then you it's really important in gut healing. And if you have what's called leaky gut, which you're when you eat and you have certain things that are your food intolerances or things that you may be intolerant to in food, it can get into the lining of your gut and get in between those epithelial cells or those cells in your gut that absorb all the nutrients in your food and cause an allergic reaction or an inflammatory reaction. Glutamine helps keep those not that gut from not leaking. It kind of seals the leak. And so if you're deficient in that, then you may tend to have a leaky gut and have problems with inflammation in your body. So make sure that you also get that checked. I was glutamine deficient and I think arginine deficient. So I make sure that I just take I was taking glutamine, but I found something really cool. I was just talking to Marley about it. Marley is right here. Say hi, Marley. She works in my office with me. So I told Marley about it today, and I was like, "It tastes really good." It was like a matcha latte um, uh, thing with collagen, and it has all the amino acids that I need. I was like, "Great! I can get it in something I drink, and I have to worry about taking a pill." And so I just make sure I get all my amino acids that way, and then I take all of my supplements every night. So what does just kind of going over everything, what supplements do you really need? You most inevitably are going to be vitamin D deficient. Vitamin D is very important for vitiligo. If you're deficient in vitamin D, um, you need to make sure you have that on board. Most people are, and so I just tell people in general, make sure you are taking a vitamin D um, supplement every day between 2,000 and 5,000 units every single day. Number two, most people may or may not have some B12 deficiency or B vitamin deficiency, but it's always a good idea to maybe take a B complex. You may be okay, but most people I found are um, especially who have autoimmune disorders, they have a lot of B vitamin deficiency. So you can, in general, take a B complex. You may or may not be alpha lipoic deficient, so that would be something you would need to know before you take it, or magnesium deficient, or zinc deficient. Like I said, if you take too much zinc, it can cause problems. If you take too much selenium, which is a building block for another important thing for glutathione. If you don't have enough of it, you need it, but if you're overtaking it, it may cause some other issues. So what else in general? I would take a good multivitamin. I have recently become a Pure Encapsulations fan, and that's a really good vitamin supplement company. And you can Google them, just Pure Encapsulations, and they have really good supplements, and they're pretty well tolerated and um, uh, very standardized. So you don't have to worry about, going to Walmart. Not saying anything against Walmart, please. Walmart, don't sue me. But, um, just finding something at Walmart. Pure Encapsulations really has um, a really good formulation and very good standardization from what I'm reading and finding out more about them. And I just found out about them one lesson, probably like less than a couple months ago, maybe 4 or 5 months ago. So a good multivitamin, along with B complex and vitamin D. I think that should probably start you off until you find out more about what specific needs that you have. Also, you may even want to take a food allergy test. Again, if you can't get a food allergy test through your physician, or food intolerance test through your physician, you can do a home test to see what foods that you're intolerant to, because those would want to be some things that you may want to avoid, that will, cause inflammation. Everlywell has a really good home test for um, food allergies, and you may want to look into. They can just go on site for home testing for Everlywell. And again, I'm not promoting anything. I'm just kind of letting you guys know what I found out, just on my own during my own research. So those would be the great, the really good foundational vitamins. But you just, again, you really have to kind of figure out what you're deficient in to make sure that you're replacing those. Now, you heard me talk about methylation previously. Some people are called what is poor methylators, and they don't have a precursor needed to make your B12 or your B vitamins or your folic acid um, uh, active. So it has to be methylated in order for it to be active in your body. And if you don't do that well, if your body doesn't provide that and do that very well, then it's better to take what we call methyl B12 or methylfolate in order for you to um, absorb it correctly, or for it to be activated, or for it to be in an active form in your body, and for your body to be able to use it if you don't do that very well. So that is a genetic issue. And so the only way that you can find out if you're a poor methylator or not is you have to get a genetic test to figure out if you're a poor methylator. So that's pretty much it. I think I pretty much hit on everything. Oh, one thing I did want to tell you guys that was really important, um, is, and this is kind of how I figured out. I was like, oh, something is in the diet. When I was actually pregnant with my daughter, and I didn't have as much extensive loss as I have now, but I had a pretty good amount. Um, when I started taking folate, because I had to when I was pregnant, I was taking all these vitamins during pregnancy. I was taking a lot of folic acid because that's something you take when you're pregnant. All of my color came back when I was pregnant, and I was trying to figure out why, and then I figured out why. So that gives you an understanding of how important it is to take those things that you need and do it consistently. Do it make sure you guys are consistent about it. I may miss if I fall asleep and I don't, I fall asleep on the couch and I don't get up and take my vitamins at night, or but just make sure you do it consistently. Try to stick to your diet as much as you can, and hope. And then, of course, get out. If you can't do UVB therapy, try to get out in the sun. So that will be helpful. But hopefully, you guys, this is helpful to you. If you guys have any questions or comments, please comment below, and please subscribe to the channel. So I will see you next week. And I think next week we're going to talk about the psychological effects of vitiligo, and we'll deal with that. So thank you guys for joining me, and I'll see you then. Bye. So, okay, so what's up? All right, so, never mind.